everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Your New Dad. I am so excited to be here, and wherever you're at, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, whether YouTube or all up on the Spotify or the Apple podcast. I've been doing this all myself. I wish I had the coin to have a producer, but I don't. But I like the rawness of this. Please tell a friend. Bring him in. You know what I'm saying? Let him know. There's this fella who decided, out of the kindness of his big heart, to be your new father, because many don't have a dad. Some of their dads left. They bailed. They ran away. Others have dads who were okay. Others had great dads. Others had no father to speak of. So I'm here as your surrogate. Is that how you say it? Surrogate? Yes. My name is John Wayne Freeman. This is episode 6, and today we're going to talk about peer pressure. Peer pressure. What does that mean? Peers are the people around you. Usually sometime when you're a young lad. For me, your father, John Wayne Freeman, I didn't become aware of my social group and peer pressure till around, and I think it's this case for most people, 6th grade. Yeah, grade 6. For some people, wherever you grew up, I was born in 1979. Tomorrow's my birthday, no big deal, whatever, I'm going to be 45. Don't worry about it. I'm now in the middle of the 40s, technically on the wrong side of 40 on September 7th, but that's neither here nor there, and it may be on my mind. That time is passing very fast, and it's all going to end soon, and there's nuclear weapons, and why am I even doing this podcast? But it doesn't matter. For the dear listeners with ears, whether you have one ear or 2 ears, or whether you're reading subtitles, that's why I am here. Whether it's one person or 2 people, or someday 1 million. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But peers, they're those people that are in your group. And when you're a youngster, everything's kind of coordinated in elementary school to, make everybody feel welcoming. You're a kid and you're hanging out, you're having fun. You're in the lower grades. The kindergarten, which is, I always said it wrong. I would say kindergarten. I say kindergarten. I can't say it right. But anyways, it's a German word that means the children's garden. And it was when they developed the public school system to mold the children's minds. Sometimes to feed them state propaganda. Sometimes to just tell them how to hang out in society. That's where you go. You're there, follow the instructions, listen to the teacher. You begin to learn. You have the lower grades, K through 3. And you're hanging out and everyone's nice and there's lunch and nap time. I always like nap time. Really relaxing, very enjoyable, chill out. I realized I was straight in kinder when there was a young lady. I won't say her name in case she's out there. She's almost 45 as well now. Her name was Kimber Castleton. We'll say it. And I put my arm around her while we were watching a cartoon. And that's when I knew that I liked redheads. But that's either here nor there. Point is, K through 3, you're kind of developing. Everything's going good. 4th grade's great. 5th grade's pretty good. 6th grade, in much of America, is where elementary school ends. But where I grew up, it was both. It was K through 6, or you began junior high in the 6th grade. I was in the K through 6. And that's where I started to make bad choices, because I started to surround myself with fellas that were a little wild. Skaters. They skateboarded, and they were rogues, and their dads were nowhere to be found. And I would hang out at their houses, and sometimes no one was around that was an adult. And that was different than my house, because I always had my parents watching me, but I would be there at their houses, and that's where I was introduced to a lot of bad things. The first bad things were their pervert dads who had VHS videos that were filled with pornography. And then you see that and you're 12 and you're like, good Lord, I should not be watching this, but you watch it, you're like, whoa, hey, what's going on? I like this stuff. Before I even knew what sex was, I mean, I knew what it was because of Jimmy, who lived across the street when I was 7, who told me everything. I didn't believe him when he said it, but you see these things. It always happened at another person's house whose parents weren't around. And this particular person whose house I was at, his dad wasn't around, his mom wasn't around. They're latchkey kids. Do you know what that means? Parents were gone at work all day. They had a key to the house. I was hanging out with them. We were in a gang. It was called the Dragons. We were 12. Don't worry about it. But I discovered bad things there. My friend, I won't say his name was Dylan. He had an older sister who had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was kind of into heavy metal. He listened to Slayer, Cannibal Corpse, a lot of crazy music, and I listened to that, and I was 12, and I came from the church. I was a Christian boy, and I was like, whoa, dude, this guy listens to music that worships demons, and I was like, this is not good. I should get out of here. But I stayed there. I stayed in the pocket because all my friends were there, my peer group, and I began to realize that, oh, these guys are kind of cool, even though I knew it was bad, but I hung out. So I saw bad things. His sister, she smoked the weed, and I was like, dang, dude, that's kind of wild. You smoke the pots. That's an illegal drug. That's super bad. You could go to prison for life for that. This was 1991, 92. I mean, you could get locked up for that. But I hung in there. So that's when I was first introduced to peer pressure. Then 7th grade, I never swore. I never said bad words. But then in the junior highs, I started to say the F word. I started to say the S word. I started to say the B word. I started to say the A word. It was normal for me. But at home, somehow the filter kicked in, and I never said a swear word in front of my kids. So life began to go on, and then you grow a little bit older. You go through high school. You slip a little bit. You're like, no, my peer group. And you realize when you finally get older that the people you surround yourself with the most, you begin to behave like them, for better or for worse. What I would recommend is don't ever start taking Zyns, because nicotine's powerful. But besides that, I would recommend surrounding yourself with good people, great people, people that are awesome, people that are wonderful, people that build you up, people that are like-minded. At the same time, it's okay. Surround yourself with people with different ideas, that have different directions that they're going in life. That's good. You learn a lot of stuff. But your core group, I'm saying like your 5 friends that you hang out with the most, make sure they are solid, good people. Eventually, I began to drift, yes, from my upbringing. You know, and you start to get a little squirrely, get a little weird, and it can go south very, very fast. But a bunch of years went by, I got older, and I realized something. This peer pressure not only exists in your immediate peer group, it also exists everywhere. In media, people trying to sell you things, people trying to tell you who to vote for, people trying to tell you socially what you should believe, what's good, what's not good, this, that, the other thing. And I guess what I want to say today on this episode of Your New Dad is be a critical thinker. Don't follow the group. The most punk rock thing you can do is think for yourself. In this day and age, 2024, we are told that you have to think a certain way, and if you don't, you are this, that, or the other thing. I was raised in a conservative household. I believe in God, and that is not very popular these days. Why? Well, I'm not sure. People assume that it's because you're a bigot. I'm also a white male. Yes, I don't know if you could see that. I have white skin, or hear that through my voice. I can change my voice, and maybe you wouldn't know what I was or who I was, but I won't do that right now. I'm a dude. I'm a duder. And right now, you're told a lot of things about yourself. The truth is, the only thing that matters is your heart. That big, beating thing full of blood that keeps you alive. That is it. And your compass, your moral compass. And anything outside of that, people trying to tell you how to live, what to believe, is all ballyhoo. It's rubbish. Surround yourself with good people, focus on good things, do right. There's entire industries that have popped up revolving around everything. Everything. DEI, LGBTQ, blah, blah, blah. Listen, if you were raised with a mom and dad who taught you the golden rule, you already know all this. You're a human being. There's other human beings. We all come from different backgrounds. You're supposed to take care of those around you. You're supposed to treat people well, and that's it. But right now, people are lost in a haze of confusion, and it's depressing, it's sad, it's ridiculous, and frankly, I'm really tired of it. Somewhere around 2008, there was this dude that got into office. He was about hope and change and doing wonderful things. His name is Barack Obama. And I did not vote for him, but I thought he was an incredible speaker, incredibly talented. I was like, this is cool, man. Whatever. He won, and then all of a sudden, popping up everywhere was, everyone's a racist. We need to deal with our own history. Everything's awful. You're a bad person. Blah, blah, blah. And it kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Then we get to 2020, and it's still around. And cops are bad. Everybody's bad. America's bad. It's a terrible place to be. Is any of it true? Well, on individual cases, yeah, there's bad police departments. There's good police departments. There's good people in good police departments. There's bad people in good police departments. There's all sorts of problems and issues everywhere. But overall, that's what this experiment is. It's America. It's a bunch of different people from a bunch of different places. And we grew more and more divided. And people started to say, this is a bad place to be. It's not a good place to be. The peer pressure started to come down on people. COVID came. If you decided that maybe, well, this isn't that big of a deal, perhaps this was created in a lab in China, you were ostracized. Perhaps if you went, oh, I have an incredibly strong immune system that's amazing and works incredible, I think I'll be all right. No, that wasn't good enough. You were ostracized. If you thought, take ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, blah, 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 any of that. No, do not deviate from the topic. So then you realized, oh, social contagion, peer pressure. It's a real thing. It never ends. People want to conform. They don't want to speak their mind because they might lose money. They might lose social credit. They might lose all sorts of things. And it went on, and it got wilder and wilder. And people were taught in universities crazy things, have been for some time. A lot of it involves drugs. A lot of the hippies, they filtered in right there into the universities. They did a lot of acid. They got a little bit crazy. It's all about love, right? It's all about love. Why is it that the tolerant left is so intolerant? I don't know. Peer pressure. Your peers will pressure you. And it never ends. But you, my dear listener, have to make a decision. Regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your sexuality, wherever you come from, are you a human being who was not here, and then one day two people met somewhere, someplace, and they engaged in coitus, and they made you. And you were born. And now you're here. So do you think for yourself, or do you follow groupthink? It's the same thing as when you start to go through puberty and people began to change and you got pressured into things, or you didn't. There are very, very few independent thinkers. And I think that the independent thinkers, the critical thinkers, are the best among us. The best among us. You see a bad idea, you call it out, regardless of the pressure from the group. You stay the course. You walk the straight and narrow. That is one of the most beautiful American things that could ever happen. That's what you can do living in a free country. But right now we live in a time where you're told you're supposed to think one way. And that's ridiculous. And it causes division. We could just have people all day, every day saying, yeah, people think different things. People are crazy. Some people aren't. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Free speech, as long as they're not breaking the law, as long as they're not hurting anybody, but that's not what happens. I haven't been sleeping, by the way. Can you tell? Can you hear it in my voice? Do you know why? I've been listening to a book called Nuclear War by Annie Jacobsen. I recommend it. You should listen to it. It's pretty horrifying, the things humans have created that could destroy the whole world. Human beings were capable of greatness, or the most awful, atrocious, hideous, dark, unimaginable things you can imagine. Both things. You can be the greatest, most loving, incredible, talented thing in the world, or the most evil thing in the world. Are you being lied to? Yes, every day, from multiple sources. People trying to sell you things, people trying to get you to think the way they think, mostly because it benefits them. And we've never lived in a time where information is spread more rapidly or faster than it is right now. So don't give in to peer pressure. You're an adult. If you're lost, if you're off track, find your way back to homeostasis. Are you believing things that aren't true because it benefits you socially? You don't want to be ostracized from your group? Well, any group that you're a part of, or your circle that doesn't accept you for exactly who you are, well, maybe they're not so tolerant. Peer pressure, for me, was always something that we were taught, resist. I was born in 1979, Generation X, and it's something that we were preached to by our neighbors, by our school, by our parents, and you never hear it anymore. It's all about conformity, all about going with the flow. And it's always caked and decorated in love, kindness, just do this is good, diversity, equity, inclusion, it's all great, it's all wonderful. No, a bunch of people are benefiting from really terrible ideas and things. Yeah. A bunch of people trying to create a perfect society. It doesn't exist. It will never exist. Yeah. Humans are pretty rotten at the core, but they're also amazing, capable of incredible things. What I'm trying to say is people are tricky. You're a solo, a roller, dear listener. Get alone. Get all the junk out of your system that may be affecting your brain, your noggin, and think for yourself. Are you still just a 7th grader who's trying to fit in and conform? Are you simply following everything that is the cool thing to follow because it is where the social winds are blowing this year? You're a human being. You're capable of great, astonishing things you could not even imagine. You have one life. You're either a follower or a leader. In this time, right now, at this moment, as you hear this, the world needs leaders, not followers. So try to think about the way you were raised, the things you've heard, your education, the things you've seen, and process it all through the filter that is the incredible, magical gift that God gave you called your brain. The ultimate supercomputer that created everything. And remember that people are tricky human beings, and as they desire money and power, they enjoy tricking the masses. So knowing that, figure out where you stand. And then look to your heart, which is not your brain. Your heart and your soul and go, am I on the right course? Am I on the right side of history? I can't stand it when people say that. Because it's such a cocky, arrogant thing to say, you're on the right side of history. Out of all the billions of people that have ever existed, right now in 2024, you, little old you got it all figured out, don't you? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe I don't. But love, it always wins. And love gets used to twist people up and to sell things and to create strife and to do all sorts of things. The greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was making the world think that he didn't exist. Yes, that's from a movie whose lead actor has been maybe or maybe not convicted of some crimes. I don't know. Mr. Spacey, what did you do to those people on set and off set? Point is, you need to rehash all the things in your brain that may be true and may not be true. And then come to a place where you can move forward and confidently in your life as an independent thinker who does not succumb to peer pressure. And peer pressure is a trick that is used to get the masses to conform. But you're a unique individual made up of a bunch of crazy little cells that has never existed. From a mom and dad who did the dirty dance and made you. And you are special, you are unique. But who cares? We all are. You don't need to sit back and create an entire movement based around your desires and the way you're wired. You're just a human being. All right. Don't follow the crowd. Don't give in to peer pressure. Follow your heart. Be the man or woman that you were created to be and do something incredible. Don't be a little lemming. We got enough of those. Did I mention I haven't been sleeping? I love you guys. This was Your New Dad. Episode 6 was on peer pressure. Will you take anything from this? I don't know. But I will continue to do this every week. You don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. Most of us are just trying to get by. But you do have a heart. And you are brave. You are strong. You don't need people to tell you that. You know it intuitively. So be somebody that's a peacemaker, that brings people together, doesn't tear them apart. There's enough of that in our world today. We don't need more people that are dividing others. Don't make rash assumptions based on looking at somebody. Profiling's okay, it is, if it's to protect yourself. Totally fine. Yeah. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it might be a duck. Yeah, sometimes that can save your life. But I mean, in the broader sense, just give people some grace if they think different than you. Calm down, simmer down, simmer down. Take a breath. World's a dangerous place. But know this, the people that are in charge, they're not that different than you. They're human beings. Human beings are deceptive, they're clever, they're tricky, and at the base instinct of many of them is to conquer and hurt and destroy and control other people. At the best end of it, the best type of thing is to unify, bring together, and make life better. So be the one that makes life better, not the one that divides and hurts and destroys, that makes rash judgments and assumptions about others. Right? Okay. We went 25 minutes. That's pretty long. I hope something got into your dome on this. Thank you so much. That was episode 6 of Your New Dad. I've been sleeping about 3 hours a night this week, mostly because I've been reading a book on nuclear war. But other than that, there's some other stuff, but life's awesome in general. I just can't put my thoughts together as well as I would like to when I'm rested. All right then, take care. Love you guys. Bye. Ugh.